Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of Easy 8's Online Painting Club. As always, my name is Danny, says it right down at the bottom of the screen, and I hope you've all had a wonderful week. I see that we've got quite a full chat room already, so if you're new here, welcome to the show. Come and join in with this crazy bunch over here. If you are new, this isn't a tutorial show or anything like that at all. This is literally a painting club where you can come online on the live stream, join me and these bunch over here and paint your models along with someone who's kind of painting their models at the same time, because we're all to blame. We've all got that big pile of minis just off the side of the camera that aren't getting painted or being painted too slowly, and it's just nice to have a little bit of company while you're kind of working along on those. So yeah, I've been working on loads of stuff recently. I've been doing a few bits and pieces between the last show last week and this week here. Been kind of getting a few minis prepared for today, even right up to the beginning of this show here. And I'm going to be painting some gargoyles. I've got loads. You can just see them off the bottom of the screen here. Like loads of little cocktail sticks with spiky bits on them. It's not the studio to want to sneeze in right now, because I'll get like a whole eyeful full of cocktail sticks. And it also smells of super glue activator in here. It's actually really quite strong stuff. Anyway, if you do like what we do here, please do consider subscribing to the show, because every little gesture from your end really makes a massive impact at this end. And we've had a nice little influx of subscribers lately, and I feel every single one of you. So thank you very much to those of you that have been subscribing. And if you haven't already done so, please share the word of Easy 8, because you never know, there might be someone out there who's really looking forward to something like this. And this might be helping them to kind of connect with the hobby, because that's what it's all about, right? Also, please put the thumbs up button just down there. For every video that we do, if you hit the thumbs up button, I'm fairly certain, if I understand the algorithm correctly, it kind of like helps get it out there to other people. So yeah, subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to be alerted to every time I make a new video, you can hit the bell icon, which is down here somewhere. Can't really see it, but I'm sure there's a bell icon down there, because last week I had some technical issues, which I really do hope don't happen this week, which was my microphone gave up, my camera, sorry, gave up, not my microphone, and then the software gave up, and then I wasn't able to do anything, so I had to just stop the show and then come back to it, and then the camera's playing up and all sorts. Turns out in the background of my computer there was like a little cheeky update that was just trying to happen. And these problems have only been happening since I got the new camera. I was going to get a couple of these just to kind of transform the quality of the show, but frankly, if I can't get this one to behave, I won't get any more, and I'll go back to the old setup. However, it could just be that it was a random coincidental little update that just kind of got in the way. So I'm hoping that that was it. Everything's all been dealt with now, and I hope that the quality of today's show is not interrupted. However, we still got really good views for last week's show, so for those of you that came and watched it, thanks ever so much for sticking around. I really do try, and it's only a hobby, it's not a job, but I do try to make it as good as I possibly can and as professional looking at the level that I'm at. And when it doesn't go right, though I appreciate and value the rawness of it, it does affect me. And I'm like, I wish that was better for you guys, but we still had the same quantity of views that we always get. We're still in the sort of like 40s to 50s, and that's just brilliant. So thank you so much to those of you that are constantly supporting the show. Yeah, that's really it today. Apart from the fact today I just played my first game of 10th edition 40k, where I got my butt handed to me. Thanks, Kez, for coming around and doing that. That was, yeah, really what I needed on my first go. Oh man, I was just a bullet magnet. I nearly killed some stuff. What can you do, eh? What I am very happy about with is that my Tyranid army, when they're all painted up together, they are looking really, really good. And that just motivates me today and moving forwards as well. So, yeah, just generally looking forward to getting some more Tyranids painted. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you straight over to the workbench. I've got nothing else to say. I just want to kind of crack on because it's really exciting. So here we go. Here's Kese. You're most welcome. Let's go over to the workbench and I'll read some live chat stuff while we're over there as well. Here we go. So you'll notice I'm a little bit more zoomed out this week. The reason for that is I've lifted the camera up a few but very significant inches. It doesn't have a focus control on this camera. The whole idea of it is that it is a webcam and it's for putting on your face if you're a gamer or something like that. It has a really good depth of field, so no matter where you are, within reason, it has a really good sort of focus on you, and then the background kind of goes blurry, but it is very good for capturing the table. However, if I have it too close, I can't focus in. When it is focused, the fidelity is absolutely fantastic. So I'm just trying to work out where's best to have it. And then if I want to, I can sort of, you know, like increase the zoom or even increase the size of the canvas which is essentially the screen that you see. So I'm really interested in having all of your feedback. If you want to if you want to like tell me how it looks, how it sounds, whatever. I've been getting some feedback recently about brightness and exposure, etc. And I've got little dials over here that I've been programming, trying to change it all. So if I want to, I can make it go really bright or really dull. Now I've got to find out where I was. I've gone too far. There we go. And I can zoom in a little bit using the controls here. Okay, so do let me know what you think, because I want to make it better for you. So loads of comments in the live chat. Let me just scroll on over here. We've got Kez, we've got Leslie, we've got Adrian, and we've got Jeff, the usual suspects. Thanks for coming along. Hi everybody, hope you've had a lovely week this week. Just joining us just at the last minute there, we've got Anthony Meekins. It was great to meet you and have a chat and salute. Hi Anthony. If no one knows who Anthony is, this is Debris of War, who makes some fantastic scenery for your war games. And right here I've actually got a couple of items. I've got a little stone bridge, and I've got a double stone bridge or double arch stone bridge. These I haven't painted yet because I'm still waiting for some supplies to do my terrain boards with, but these products came from Anthony, and I've got to say, Anthony, like, your products are unparalleled in quality. They're absolutely fantastic designs, really well crafted, and there's, do you know what, really reasonable prices, and I'm really looking forward to getting them painted and stuck on the terrain boards, because they're going to look really fabulous. What I was thinking about doing was having these ones so they're built into my terrain boards, but the rivers for them are actually designed for 28mm. So what I'm going to do is increase the size of the riverbanks on those. The riverbanks, decreasing the width of the river, and I might be able to put these onto it, but I might actually just have these as what do you call, like, scattered terrain, so I can put them down on like a normal table. Yeah, I just love them. They're brilliant. I've got little, here's my little 10mm tanks. Aren't they fantastic? Absolutely love them. So if anyone's looking for any sort of terrain, mostly resin built, then you should definitely head on over to Debris of War. There is a link in the description of this video just down there. Please go check him out, because Anthony's a really swell guy as well. I do believe you prefer the name Tony, but I'm going to call you Anthony until you tell me otherwise. Leslie says, just had a little connection problem then, but could be my signal as I'm in my house. I'm house sitting for my friend this week. Could be. Let me know. I normally get a little alert if it's at my end, but nothing today. Who knows? I either get an alert or the whole program just shuts up and then I have to restart the whole stream. It's like the good old days of when I was doing it out of like a horrible little room somewhere in the house and I had like a laptop. So let's just see some of the other comments that are going in here. Everyone's doing well. That's wonderful. Leslie says, you and I, Dan, will have to gang up on Kez. Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed today's game. It was very different from previous editions, whilst there being some similarities as well. Yeah, basically, Kez just had a lot of really big dreadnoughts and a lot of really big guns. And I don't run like the old... knocked the light out of place. I don't run the old Nidzilla lists. I like swarms. So it was, yeah, I was the waves of an ocean running into a sea wall. I nearly killed the really big dreadnought though, and frankly I got very unlucky at the end and didn't kill it. Anyway, what I've got here are a load of Tyranid Gargoyles. They are all stuck on skewers right here, and this is the one that I painted up last week. This one is done, and I really like it. It hasn't got its base on it yet, because if you remember last week I was saying what I wanted to do was to get some acrylic rods that I can cut to length, the desired length that I want to, and I can have them at various heights so that I can have them all a bit closer. The problem with their wings, if they're all on the same sort of level thing, their level stands, their wings will kind of get too close and you can't move them around the table. Having them at different altitudes, if you like, makes the table look a little bit more interesting, but it also allows them to kind of like ride over the top of each other a little bit. So it'll just make it a little bit easier to move them on the table. I'm waiting for those acrylic rods. They are purchased, and they're not getting to me till sort of like mid to late August. So that's just something to do a little bit later on down the line. Right now, I just want to get the creatures done, and they look really cool, especially when you put them with the rest of my painted Tyranid horde. So this one's done. He's here for reference. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit, so you can actually see what it is that I'm painting, and hopefully I don't lose any fidelity here. So, yeah, really nice looking Tyranid. Gonna pop him over to one side for now. You can just go over there. See you later, mate. This one here was the one that I was testing last week, so I wanted to test out a different colour scheme thing on the wings. Didn't really like it, so I stopped right there. I'm going to repaint this bad boy in just a moment. with these ones over here, these are all prepped and ready to go. The little bit of sanding that's been done on them, taken off the sprue marks, etc., and some of the mould lines on there. I did want to do an extra 9 today, but I didn't get 2 of them done because I was too busy playing games today. So what I've got is I've got 7 extra here to do, and I'll just get the other 2 done later on outside of the show. But these are all going to be trying done at the same time. I'm going to see what works best. The idea is now that I know my colour scheme thing that I'm going to be trying to, that I'm trying to stick to. I'm going to see if I can get these done nice and quickly. As always, I'm really excited and I'm tripping over my words a lot. But hey, I'm just happy to be here with you guys. So thanks for the company. Happy Friday, by the way. Cheers. Nice cup of tea. That's a good one as well. It's going to go quick. Okay, so let's just put these over here. I've got my big block of polystyrene so that I can use these cocktail sticks to just kind of jam into it and they act as a giant model stand. This one here has been primed already. I need to go over the wings here with the off-white colour that I use for priming the wings. But otherwise, he's kind of done. So I'm just going to put into a side because I want to get the others yellowed. So what I'm going to do while I'm talking is get my compressor on my airbrush pumped up. Put down a nice sheet of paper here for a second. And what I'm going to do is get my primer. Here is my primer. Going to give that a really good old shake. Keep on shaking it. It's been a week or 2 since I've used this, so get him all mixed up there. Gonna stick him on the Wazomatic and give him a really good buzz. There we go. Tony is good. Thanks for the plug. You're absolutely welcome, Tony. Yeah, more than welcome. This is what this show is all about. It's all about doing the hobby together, celebrating the hobby together, being unashamedly, and I can't remember what the word is. Unashamedly. I'm going to say that way. Unapologetically into the hobby and just kind of sharing all the businesses and things that are out there, because it's not just you. There are lots of other people who make wonderful products and we see them when we go to the shows. It's about spreading the word, isn't it? And spreading the business for people. And this is a hobby, so I don't charge. And nor should I, right? I did not clean my airbrush out properly last week. Let's just sort that out. At the end of the show, it really helps when you do it. Please tell me to clean my airbrush out. Jeff saying, Waz. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, I could do with a little bit of a clean out. Let's just open up the old airbrush here. The nozzle's fairly clean, that's good. It's just inside the paint chamber. Could just do with a couple of drops of cleaner. I'm just going to run one of my cleaning nuggets through it. Here we go. See, the problem is last week, at the end of last week's show, I thought it'll be a nice, easy end to the show. There wasn't many people watching live because the show went really poor quality. And when I went onto Discord at the end, quite a few people came and joined me. I ended up staying and chatting to Darren for hours, just getting really excited about stuff. And I didn't clean my my airbrush out. And look, you can see that there's all this lumpy resin from all the paint and the what do you call it? The varnish that I was using to protect that last week's work. And because I was getting so excited talking to Darren for ages and ages, and I am blaming you, Darren. Sorry, mate, when you're watching this back. I didn't clean the airbrush out, so yeah. Quick check under the light there. Paint chamber's got old paint in it, but that'll be fine for now. Just gonna clean the old needle off. Got a little bit of cotton ball here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. I just use cotton ball. A lot of people use like tissue or cotton earbuds, don't they? You can buy cotton balls and stuff like that, and you can just kind of break off however much you need. It's also really good for cleaning inside your paint hopper as well. I find it works really well. I also buy the wooden earbuds because plastic ones are a blight on our world, and in a hobby where we use a lot of plastic, limit the amount of planetary destruction, right? Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this one in through backwards. See if there's any gunk coming out there. Seems to be moving nicely. Okay, cool. Now pop my trigger in. There we go. Pop the back end on. Nice. Pull that back through a little bit while I put the nozzle in. There we go. Now, I'm not going to be doing much detail airbrushing today. It's all about getting large quantities of block colour down. So if it's not working all that finely today, that's fine. I've got it. I've got enough going through there now. So, got my primer. Loads of comments going in the live chat today. Everyone's having a good old chin wag. That's what it was all about. Jeff spotted Tony. How's things? Hi Jeff, all good, thanks. How things with you? Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Leslie says, yep, it's his signal playing. It just kicked me off the show, so I had to reload it. Sorry to hear that, but at least it's not my show. Brilliant. Cool. Anthony's got many trees to make. Are you selling trees now, or are you making them for your own ends? I'm going to put in loads of primer there, because I've got quite a few models to make. So let's just see if do I need to thin this down, or is it going to go through fine? Let's just get it going, shall we? Let's get this show on the road, quite literally. Now I've just been using super glue with activator, so I'm wondering if that activator is going to make it, does it leave a residue that paint doesn't want to stick to? It's always one of those things I've been thinking about, and never really been in a position to try it or need to worry about it until today. But it looks like it's all fine, because most of the activator is actually underneath this little guy here. Because what I did is I just sprayed activator on the model, put super glue on the stick, and then shoved the stick in there, and it holds it immediately. Activator's great stuff. Jeff says, best getting trees around, mate. Tony made the trees for the embassy. Ah, wicked. In that case, yeah, making trees for debris of war. Good trees. Good trees. Do you make trees in different scales, Tony, or just the one scale, or do you make them to order? Trying to keep the layers nice and thin here. Don't want to be mashing through my hopper in one go. And I want a nice coverage at the same time, so it's all about getting that first layer done nice and light, like a dusty little layer. Almost to the point where you can barely see it. Let that dry, and it will dry really quickly if it's thin enough. And then get more layers on, but don't build it up too much. Let it dry first. We all know what happens with my yellow. It's really, really bright. But if you've got any of the grey plastic showing through, the paint will rub off a bit very easily. The yellow paint will, because it doesn't have the bonding, the adheration. I'm making that word up literally as I'm saying it. The adhesive ability. So I'm doing it again. But also, like, the grey will show up as a darker yellow when the yellow goes on top. Adhesive ability. The stickiness. Shut up, you know what I mean. Right, I used quite a bit of primer on that one. I need to get that quicker. Quicker. Right, got a stick. Shove them in a polystyrene. Next one up, here we go. Hasn't got a spiky bit on it, so I'm not going to hurt myself so much, but it might be a little bit trickier to get in the polystyrene. Might have to get the knife on it. That bit of polystyrene was the best thing, really, for my workbench. Thanks, Dad. For those of you who don't know, Jeff is my dad. Jeff here is the owner and model maker at Purple Lion Creations. And if you don't know anything about Purple Lion Creations, there is a link in the description. Go and check him out, please, because A, it's my dad. B, his models are absolutely fabulous. And all his models are made to order to customer specifications. You have a phone call with him or a video call or whatever, or just write him a letter. email, carrier pigeon, whatever, with as many drawings or ideas as you possibly can, and then he makes it and talks to you through the whole process. And we all went together to Salute this year and saw the big embassy build for Gringo 40, where of course I met Tony as well. Being a little bit more arbitrary now, just trying to get that primer on there, making sure that I'm coming from enough angles. Especially on the wings themselves, because I'm going to be putting some light colours on there later, and I want every little bit of assistance to get the brightness from the colours that I'm going to be using. But also on the finger bones that kind of separate the membranes of the wing, they're going to be yellow, and I want them to stand out, and that's going to obviously happen by putting down a good primer. Okay, let's see if this one sticks in the polystyrene well. Here we go. It does not stick in there very well. So I'm just going to get that I broke the other week, my nippers. Ugh. What a day that was. On the outside, I was calm, as I always appear. On the inside, I was screaming. You know how it goes. Adhesion. Don't ruin my words, Adrian. Get yourself an ultrasonic cleaner. They are great for getting the parts clean. Yeah, I've got one down here actually, but I don't know if it's any good. I put it in with alcohol as well sometimes. Maybe I just need a better one, or maybe if someone's got a different one I can compare. But yeah, it's a bit. It does help. It does help. Just last week I just forgot to clean it at all. So even if I was cleaning it regularly in the ultrasonic cleaner, which I don't, I just didn't clean it at all last week. Because I'm rubbish and easily distracted. Ooh, shiny things, you know. It's a curse. But I get on with it. Get away, silly piece of wood. Other comments going in. Adhesion. Anthony says, no, I make them for people. Currently making 100 for someone's Waterloo project. 100, good lord. Yeah, I agree with Jeff. Mainly 28mm, but for 20mm and 50mm as well. Maybe in the future I'll be coming to you for some 15mm trees. Because I like to play 20mm and 15mm games. The 15mm games I play is all historical World War II. I love it. I love playing Water Tanker. I think it's brilliant. Also trying to get into Flames of War, but not really have the chance at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going on, you know, with life outside the show. But the 28mm games that I play is Warhammer, or Warhammer 40,000. It's my first love into war games. I know it's not a big hit with historical players, but you know, you like what you like, don't you? And it got me into the hobby. And I love both the fantasy stuff and the sci-fi stuff. So yeah, whatever. Just like it. But I suppose like 40k now is arguably not even 28mm anymore. They call it heroic 28mm, but it's 32 now, probably even bigger than that in some places. I was playing some Old Terrain today, which was made in 28mm, but against some of the stuff that was on the table, you're like, wow, this is small now. But you know, scale creep. GW have been doing it for 20 years. You compare the very first Metal Terminators that came out with the recent plastic ones to the ones that have come out recently, and they're all different, and that's fine. That's cool. I don't get annoyed or argumentative with that. I did play Bolt Action a little while ago with Kez. Kez and I got invited to Michael's house, which was really, really nice. We went down there for the day, and Michael sat there and became like a referee and an invigilator for us learning how to play 40k. because, sorry, 40k, bolt action, because it was made by the people who originally were in Games Workshop, there were a lot of similarities that we were used to, and the game went really, really smoothly. And that was, do you know what? After playing World War II games for so long in 15mm, playing in 28mm was really nice. I'd love to play bolt action, but I've got so much stuff for other games. As soon as you play a new game, you've got to get all the terrain for it. I can't really play bolt action in a Warhammer 40,000 universe, because that would be a Doctor Who episode worth watching, wouldn't it? There's something to do. So yeah, I don't play bolt action because I don't have the terrain for it. The idea with playing What a Tanker or even in Flames of War was so that I could have another game to go to often, easily, in a different scale, but it was easy to store. Because that's ultimately it, isn't it? It's not just the time it takes to paint or make everything, you've got to store it all as well. And then everyone's life space is a premium eventually. I am very fortunate I have a partner who really allows me to just kind of just do what I want. But I bet there's a limit somewhere, and I'm not keen to test it. I am not pushing my luck. Cool. 4 down, 3 to go, and then we've got to get in with the yellow, and then it's going to get very, very bright. Making good time so far. I still want it faster, but don't want to sacrifice the quality. But as soon as I spray too intently in one location, of course I'm going to lose all that detail. And these are really nice models, actually. I've never had gargoyles in my army before, and I've been playing Tyranid since 2nd edition, 1998. No, earlier than that. Way earlier than that. 93, 94. So, where's my final? There it is. Yeah, and I've never had them. I've seen models made out of the white metal. Oh, I've got that down the side of my hopper. Let's get a bit of tissue on there. I've got any tissue? No, I've lost my tissue. Yeah, I've never had gargoyles. Never liked them. Never liked the sculpt. Never liked the models. Didn't like the fact that they were made out of white metal on really easy to tip over flight bases. So I just never had them. I just didn't like them. But actually, they're really cool. Nowadays, the models are really, really nice. The rules for them are really quite cool. I like the narrative behind the whole Tyranid thing, really, but, you know, having flying Tyranids is kind of cool. How an invasion starts, blot out the sun, you know, with spores and flyers. They didn't really get much of a chance to do much today, because Space Marine Dreadnoughts, right? They did alright though. They killed a few Space Marines. I didn't take any units out entirely though. I was just outgunned. I think my nozzle needs a bit of a clean. Struggling to push primer through the airbrush now. Cool. Just going to whittle the end of this stick down so it goes into the polystyrene easily. Yeah, that'll do, right? Nice. These little wood bits away. Where are you? There you are. Cool. One more. One more in white. Sip of tea, I think. Some more comments going in. Yeah, storing it is all fun. Yes, says Kez, who bought 30 square feet of uncertain scenery. It's looking amazing though, but where are you putting it? I don't know, man. Adrian says, Anvil Industries do heads in 28mm heroic, and they still fit very nicely onto the new Astra Militarum models. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and the new Primaris Marines are the same, so the old Space Marine heads fit into the models. I think that they're just generally kind of scaled up all over, so they're more in proportion. The old Marines, while I prefer them in their design, I think that they are a little bit out of proportion with themselves, perhaps. So the heads fit into them. Sorry, the old heads fit in the new ones quite well. And I think that was a deliberate thing. I don't know why. Shoulder pads also fit exactly the same too. Leslie says, those gargoyles are going to look awesome when they're done. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That's a lovely thing to say. Adrian, 2nd edition was released in 93. Codex Tyranids and Gargoyles appeared in 95. There you go. The Dreadnoughts are scary opponents. They won't stop murdering our poor Tyranids, so I'm going to stop them. I know that I've got a Rupture Cannon here that's got that written all over it, and I know that you've got 2 Rupture Cannons, correct? Good old Rupture Cannons. The thing with really big Tyranid weapons is that they're often attached to really big Tyranids. So it's got a weapon that can stop you in your tracks, but you can't really take it out very well. I had some zone threats on the table. They got killed before I was allowed to have a go, which was a shame because they were going to be some of my harder hitting units, but you know, the table for terrain was sparse, and that was my fault. It's still a good table though. I don't mind losing. I'm not a bad loser at all. I've lost a lot through my years. There was a time when I was playing Tyranids where I was actually undefeated for almost an entire edition. That was fun. Got a bit of a reputation for it, so people started targeting me for it. But you know, over time people make lists that will take you on, and then the editions change and things, and new rules get added in and whatnot. Nowadays I actually find it quite difficult to win. In sort of 7th edition, 6th and 7th edition Space Marines, I had a very competitive list. I don't really play tournaments, official tournaments. I used to run tournaments with my friends, but trying to get everyone together can be often quite difficult in later years, families and whatnot. So I don't really do that anymore. Not completely put off the idea of running another one sometime soon, but yeah, it's just trying to get everyone together all the time. The more people you got in a tournament, the harder it is because, you know, you got to play more people. But yeah, that was a time gone by. Nowadays, I just suck. I don't mind being the loser. You got to have a loser sometimes, haven't you? Can't always win. I'd rather be a poor loser than a poor winner as well. If I am a poor loser, better than being a poor winner. And I'm fairly certain I've probably been both. I think we're pretty much there with priming, which is good because I'm bored of looking at white now. I want to go look at yellow. Just making sure. I've got a little bit of stuff left in the hopper, so I might as well go over it. I missed a little bit of sprue on his back. Nah, who cares? Life is too short. That does actually kill the ADHD in me saying that, by the way. There's a part of my brain that says, no, go back, do it. But in the interest of just trying to improve, or just trying to have a completely painted army, sometimes you've got to make a sacrifice, and that might be that tiny piece of sprue that I could only see at this distance, with the lights on this intense, it's fine. Do you know what? Who cares? Some more comments going in. Jeff says, don't you think you should be able to win against the bugs? Don't think you should be able to win against the bugs. It should be a game of how well you die. Yeah, ultimately, I think that's why I've kind of gotten okay with losing as the Tyranids, is because in their lore, it's unlikely that your planet's going to survive unless you've got like ultimate intervention, which is basically nuking the surface of the planet until there's nothing else left on it. And even then, doesn't really get rid of them. So I know that while my game, I haven't won. Ultimately, the story I have you know. And if you have to go and firebomb the entire planet to get rid of me, you've lost as well, so whatever. So, yeah. Leslie says, I've got one rupture cannon, but we'll very soon be getting a second. The zone throats hit hard, but they can't take it, unfortunately. Well, they can. More small arms and infantry, the amount of firepower that I was facing off today, absolutely not, no. Death Guard in 9th edition was silly. I didn't lose a game in it. I don't play competitively, so for an army to be killed easily, makes you have to use your brains. Yeah, I go by the rule of, and I do this in all my games, I put on the table what I like. Yeah, if I don't like a model, then I'm probably not going to play it. Just because that's how it is. Yeah, it's just the rule of cool, isn't it? Have on the table what you enjoy playing with. Right, what am I doing now? Yellow. Yellow. What I do need to do is get this primer out of the airbrush. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to purge it a minute. I'm going to pour a load of water in there. Let's oh, wrong way. Dial back on the old zoom so you're not just stuck in at the same thing there the whole time. So just going to force some water through here, and then I'm going to put some yellow in, and hopefully by the intermission I should have a good quantity of these yellowed up. Now I understand I'm not going to get all 9 of these painted, or all 7 of these painted tonight in one show. I absolutely get that, and this isn't a tutorial or a how-to or anything like that, or watch how good I am sort of a show. I'm not actually very good. It's just about getting stuff painted. So it's going to be a couple of weeks, and if I've got time between shows, of course I'm going to be doing as much as I can. The idea the last couple of weeks was to have a practice at a technique, a style that would get me to where I need to be to get these done as quick as I can, while still having a reasonably good quality. If I'm going to paint a larger winged unit, I will take just as long painting that one unit as I would a unit of lots of little things, and it would look better. I'll put more detail and time and effort into it. This is a horde army, this is a horde unit, and the idea is to get lots done. So yes, I keep on trying to teach myself that in this situation it is absolutely fine to be a little quicker and to lose it. I just struggle with it because I want every single thing to look perfect, but that I think is an artist's, curse, isn't it, really? Leslie says, ditto, buddy, regardless of rules, if you don't like the model, it's not being played. Yeah, absolutely. Simple. Right, just going to give this paint a bit of a waz, because it needs it. Gold yellow from Vallejo, using the airbrush colour, obviously. It's a really nice yellow. Yellow's my favourite colour, which is good, because there's a lot of yellow in this army. Just reminds me of sunshine and smiley faces and happiness. The insides of flowers. Whatever. Right, let's load that hopper up. There we go. I might have to replace that yellow sometime soon. Oh my god. Nice, okay. Now this yellow does cover well on a prime surface. So... oh, the music just stepped up. Feeling the pressure. What I'm going to do is I'll just zoom in a little bit. There you go, a little bit more. Here we go. It's a really bright yellow. Every time I paint a model in this yellow, I always think, wow, that's too much. Too much yellow, it's too bright, too vibrant. But once I put my filters on it, it really dulls it down, but without killing that yellow colour. Like, it just stops it from being so bright and in your face, looking cartoony, which I don't want. On a primed white surface, this yellow goes a long way. This little bit under his chin as well, but whatever. If I've got little bits like that, which I haven't been able, because I've been sitting down on the sofa in the evenings in, like, a semi-dark room, and watching some TV with my partner, just sanding them away and whatever. If I've missed little bits here and there, I can actually just kind of go back in with a brush and just neaten them up after I've trimmed it away later. It'll leave like a little bit of bare plastic, but it's a big box of Tyranids that Leslie in the live chat gave me. Thanks again, man. Every time I paint something, I'm always going to say thank you for that wonderful, kind gift. but they're already made, so it's very hard to kind of, you know, clean them up. Right, that's enough on him for a minute. Let's pop him back. Adrian says, trouble is the models I really like are just very big bullet magnets. Yeah, but that's the game, I suppose, isn't it? But yeah, there's nothing worse than spending like months painting up a unit, going, they're finally ready, they're my favourite thing, aren't they so cool? Taking them out of the battlefield and everyone goes, look at that threat, and then kills them off straight away. That's that's a tough pill to swallow. It's going to happen. It's happened with every Tyranid unit I've ever painted. Bringing out the new thing, dead. Brilliant, cool, thanks for that. And to be fair, I am the guy that does it to people as well. I've done this thing, isn't it lovely? Yeah, let's kill that off. Put that away. It's a dick move, actually. I shouldn't do it. Try and help it. You can see here that where there's grey that hasn't been covered properly by the primer, got a tail there that's still showing. It's quite dark in there, so yeah, you really need the primer on this yellow for it to show any sort of vibrancy at all. Yes. You did it to my Lego Sakaran tank. Yeah, absolutely right I did, and I absolutely remember that. So, some years ago when the Sakaran battle tank came out as a Forge World unit, Kez wanted to give it a try, but it's an expensive model to buy, especially from Forge World. So made it, very convincingly may I say, from Lego. Popped it on the table. There was absolutely no way I was going to allow that to be flying around, driving around, kicking butt, killing Tyranids. So before it did anything, it wasn't Tyranids, was it? It was Space Marines. But before it even got to move, I filled it full of laser shells. Yeah. I don't think it did anything. I don't think it even moved, did it? What paint mixer are you using? What paint mixer? Sorry, I thought you were talking about what chemical I was using in the paint. I've got a really cheap and nasty Shaker G401 by a brand that was cheap on Amazon. It cost me about 30 quid. It's just a nail varnish shaker. It looks like a Vortex shaker. It's in black and you can find them all over Amazon. It's not the best in the world, but it does a good enough job at my level. I would love to have a Vortex shaker, but they're 3 times the price. So yes, I bought it mostly because when I'm doing a lot of my historical stuff in larger scales, when I'm off the show, I like to do 1/35th historical stuff. Just for myself. I use a lot of enamel products and they have like a silty layer at the bottom of the bottle, and I find that shaking them or stirring them is okay, but it's a bit messy and time consuming. Yeah, I bought the shaker and it does a really good job on it, to be fair. I think I'm out of yellow. Yeah, cool. Kez says, no, you had first turn and killed it. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Do you know what? For the horrible thing that was to do to you, I'm really sorry. But you know what? You took it to kill my units, so... 15 minutes to go before the break. And I'm making really good progress through this. This is one of those weeks where it's just get the big work done. And while that is a little bit boring and a bit mundane, it's nice to have a break from doing all the detail stuff from last week. Not even, at this point, even really doing my normal attempt at, you know, airbrush painting, which is like put on a really thin layer, let it dry, so on and so forth. And at the moment, I'm just trying to keep the layers thin, but just cover it quickly. It's a Horde unit, right? There's lots of them. What is a little bit annoying at the moment, as far as I can tell, they're coming in batches of 10 in the rules. They are in what is called an index, which is basically a quick list made while the new rules have been launched so that everyone can kind of get out there and use them. When the codex is launched, which is the actual proper book, because at the moment I'm using a downloadable PDF from their website, the index, they're never really accurate as to what they're going to come out like. They normally come out way, way better. And the unit composition of gargoyles, or any kind of gaunt, which is basically Tyranid's small units, small creature units, they come in batches of 10, which is weird because in every version so far they come in batches of 8, which means that my numbers are all going to be wrong. So do I have to make an extra 2 Ormagaunts, Termagants, so on and so forth? If that is going to happen, shame on you, GW. That's naughty. You know it is. But yeah, if you've got to make another 2, you've got to make another 2, right? However, the points so far in the index say you pay, I don't know, 90 points for 10 of these, up to 10. So I could have 8, it just means that I'm not getting not getting my whole buck for my bang for my buck. Shut up, Danny. Ugh! Mixing up my words. I could blame it on work being really busy, but at the moment it's really not. Which is nice, because it means that I might get a little bit of painting time this week. Normally in the summer holidays where I work, because I work in leisure and tourism, summer holidays, which is what we're experiencing here in the UK, it's normally mental busy. And at the moment, we're 50% bookings, which is sign of the hard times right now in the UK, but it also means that when I'm coming home I'm not completely burned out. But in some ways, a bit of a shame, because where I work we all kind of get psyched up and geared up for it, and now we're all like, oh. It's been a really easy week. In fact, in the last 3-4 days at work I think I've probably done about 4 hours worth of actual meaningful work. It's a rewarding job though. I do love what I do. I work with children in the adventure industry, so like outdoor adventure activities. I'm a rock climber and mountain biker in my spare time. I haven't actually done any mountain biking for a long time, and we don't do mountain biking with the kids anymore because maintaining a fleet of mountain bikes is extremely time consuming and expensive, but we do rock climbing and abseiling and all those things, keep spinning them around. So yeah, it's normally we get about 50% extra guests booked in where I work, but this year we thought it was just the first week. Oh, an easy week to get started on, and then we looked at all the advanced numbers. Nope. In the background there you can hear blues and twos, the sirens that tell you it is now holiday season. Sorry about that, but it gets so hot in the studio I've got to keep my windows open, so you might hear dogs barking in the background as well. Last one to go, yellow. And it's only 10-2. We're making excellent time here. Kez says, oh no, you had first to kill it. No, I've already read that. If you're in the mood, get the boring work done. Yeah, I find this bit easy, which is good, obviously, because it's just mass spraying. But I find it a little bit boring in the fact that there's no life in the creature just yet. It's when you start getting down to the detail, obviously, that starts bringing the details out. The creature comes to life a little bit, and you can start seeing what it's going to look like, and you start taking a bit of pride in the job that you're doing. But it's more time consuming, obviously, and that makes it sometimes boring. So it's nice to be able to do like batch work and then go and do the detail stuff in between, but probably down to the fact that I'm ADHD to heck means that I can never really find peace doing one thing. Always gonna mix it up a little bit, but at the moment I'm just trying to press on regardless. I've got 10 creatures to paint, 8 maybe, who knows. So I'm just going to basically just soldier on as much as I can. What has been really nice is when I'm painting the wings, which is where the real work goes into is that getting the sort of primer colours on there, if you like, the sort of the base colours. It's almost like painting between the lines really easy. Like the finger joints make it really easy to follow along with the brush. And as long as I don't go in, you know, really stupid, like it should be a fairly easy job. The bit that always takes me forever on any of my Tyranids is the carapace. I just haven't got the tempo down yet. I'm sure I will, but it's about practice, isn't it? But it's always the bit that takes forever and ever. And there we are. We are done. Cool. So let's just pop him in the polystyrene block just there. Nice. A lot of yellow gargoyles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is the one that painted up last week. Cool. Let's just flush that through. Just get rid of that. The purple looks really bright yellow. Just going to flush a load of water through there, get rid of any loose bits of paint. I'll stick some cleaner through it as well in a second. I'll swig a tea while I'm at it, why not? A little bit of neat cleaner. And then a bit of water just to push that cleaner through. Lush. Right. So the next thing to do is to get some Seraphim Sepia on these guys, on the yellow. Obviously this wing's going to change colour later on. I'll sort that out. I might get a little bit of brushable paint, because I've got the same colour in a brush version just over the finger bones on this one, where I was a little bit haphazard and slap happy with the contrast colour that was there. I just don't like contrast colours, you know? They don't work. Seraphim Sepia. Where is my Seraphim Sepia? I've got my old bottle just here, and I bought a fresh one the other week. Brilliant. They do look a little bit different. Now they look pretty similar. I know that they changed a lot of their recipes lately, and I get a little bit nervous when colours are slightly different. But that looks like it'll be fine. So yes, we're going to do some healthy layers of that, kind of dull that yellow down, and then we go into the wings. But we're going to do that in just a few minutes, because right now I'm going to go away for a 10-minute break, and I might go and get a glass of water because I'm talking a lot today. So yes, anyway, absolutely loving tonight's show. Thank you very much for your company. Keep on the comments, keep them coming in, and tell a friend, tell them that we're online right now and that we've had no technical problems. Touch wood. Why would you say that, Danny? All right, see you in a minute. Bye bye. Go change your paint water. Welcome back. I just went and got myself a glass of water because, yeah, I've been talking so much. I'm so excited. Just love the hobby, man. Anyway, I hope you're having a great evening as well. If you're working on something this evening, I'm genuinely interested. I did say it at the beginning of the show, like I normally do. But if you are painting something today, do let me know, because I'd love to see it. You can put a photo, if you want to, on Facebook. Or you can see what I'm doing on Instagram. You can also put photos of what you're doing on Discord if you're so inclined. You can join the Easy 8 After Party over there. There's a link to all of our platforms in the description just down there. Go check them all out. And if you want to share a picture of what it is that you're working on, I'd love to see it. Share it with the rest of the community. Let me know what it is you're working on today, and you can talk me through what it is that you're doing. Maybe you're struggling today. Maybe you're really finding it quite difficult to get through the big pile of horde army that it is you're painting, or maybe you got a victory that you want to kind of celebrate and just kind of talk about with the rest of the group. That's what it's here for. So please feel free to do that in this safe space. So someone just sent me a picture of some trees that I'm fairly certain are Tony's trees, and I remember seeing these now. They are fantastic trees. I absolutely love them. They are wonderful, all handmade as well. I suppose all trees are? Nah, maybe they are. Some trees got to be made by machine, right? But they look fantastic. I absolutely love them. Good job, Tony. Nice work. Better than I could ever do. Cracking. Anyway, in the break, I did just go and get myself a glass of water. I started painting the finger bones on the wings on here, the one that I tried out last week. And the yellow doesn't have the coverage, the pigment to really go over that brown colour. So I've had to get out some base white colours. To just kind of cover it over and bring out the background for the yellow to go over. It won't take very long at all. Anyway, I'm going to take you back over to the workbench where I am painting some stuff. But in the meantime, don't forget that if you do like what I do here at the show, please do subscribe. Every single subscription that comes in really makes such a big difference for me in the positive moods and, you know, the motivation it is to kind of make this show. So sometimes they come in slow, sometimes they come in fast, and that's absolutely fine because it's all natural. And it is really nice when people do subscribe because I know it's for all the right reasons. So please do, if you like what we do here, subscribe, tell a friend, share the word of Easy 8 and get it out there. And of course, if you do like what we do as well, you can also put the thumbs up button, which is down here somewhere. I'll try and push it for you, but I haven't worked that bit out yet. So push that one as well. Hit the bell icon. It will tell you when I've done something wrong and I have to start the show all over again. That hasn't happened for a really long time. Last week. Okay, let's go to the workbench. Here we go. So I've got this little fella here, and if I zoom in now, you can see. I'm just going to increase the size of my screen so I can actually see what it is that I'm looking at. There we go. Cool. Where the brown is here went over the yellow bits on him, and that the yellow, even the brushable paint, doesn't have the guts to kind of cover that brown colour. So what I've got here is some Screaming Skull. Screaming Skull is a wonderful paint. I say it all the time because it's not too far from being a regular white. Obviously you can see that it's not pure white, but it has such a good pigment. It will cover over most things, even metallics, in just a coat or two. Now I'm being quite cheap here and I'm not watering it down because there's not like loads of detail that I want to save here. And even if I get it onto the main wing membrane bit, that's fine because it's the colour that I'm going to use as a base right there. So I'm just taking it straight out of the pot. I don't care at this stage. And I'm just going over those finger bones so that in a little bit I can get the brush yellow. I've got airbrush and regular brush yellow, the same colour, and I can just quickly pick those out. Just a little bit here on the palette. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Looks a bit shabby, but that will neaten up in moments. Right. Some more comments going in. Leslie says, positive moods, positive face, positive peeps on your show. Did I mention positive face? Yes. I'm glad that you enjoy the show. Thanks very much for your ongoing, continued support. It really, really does make a massive difference knowing that there are people out there that really enjoy the show. So thanks very much. I say every comment I read, every like, I do feel them all personally. So thank you very much. I do it because, well, it was the lockdown, wasn't it? It was trying to bring people together during the lockdown, and then I was going to stop, thinking that it was a bit of a gimmick and it was done, but people wanted me to carry it on. So the two things that they're separate hobbies but together now for me forever. Yeah, Easy 8 is my painting time. I love it. We all talk to ourselves, I'm sure, when we're painting. I certainly do when I'm doing anything, talking to myself. There's a nice way of, you know, kind of being listened to, I suppose. Anyway, look, I've got a little bit of Screaming Skull here. Just mix it down ever so slightly with some water. It doesn't matter if it goes on a little bit thin, but the idea now is to get the membranes on these wings done. I'm using my number 2 Kolinsky brush, and I'm just gonna get these membranes painted. Now you can, it's got a little bit thick there, but I'll just spread that out. But the coverage is really, really good. Also, you know, the pigment layer, if you like. And I'm going to go over it with another colour, and that will help, you know, make sure that it is nice and opaque. But this white covers the yellow, gives a nice bright undercoat for that the fleshy colour that I'm going to use when it goes over it. Just helps establish that's a little bit of blur right there. Nice. I am normally a little bit quicker than that, but that little bit up there was quite narrow. Might get any more narrow ones, I might go to a slightly smaller brush. And that's how fast doing the wings is, that you can see that I'm starting to speed up a little bit now. Wings made for the discerning amateur. Love it. What might make it a little bit easier? I've got a whole pile of corks over here. I don't have a booze problem, alright? So if I want to, I can stick that in there. Ooh. Yeah, that makes it a little bit easier to hold. And I do like holding them a bit closer to the model, so we'll see how it goes. You're most welcome, dude. It's a cool show, says Leslie. You're awesome to chill to, even when I'm not painting. Like tonight. Okay, you're not painting anything this evening? Maybe just waiting for the next print to come off the printer, huh? 2 rupture cannons, huh? Might get a smaller brush in there in a minute, because that's a little bit of a tight space up there in that little bit in here. I'm gonna try it anyway. Oh, where does my brain go? Doesn't matter if I get it on the carapace, because that's all going to be painted grey later. Obviously, the tidier I am now, the easier it'll be to cover up those bits and make it look like I wasn't so messy. But also just good practice, right? In the face of improvements, the interest of getting better over time. Just added a tiny little bit of water to my brush just to keep the bristles nice and moist, because if the bristles start to get a bit too dry, the paint becomes a bit claggy. The bit I'm trying to be careful about is obviously not getting it onto the yellow of his tail, because if I did that, that's a colour that I've got to go back over. I've just remembered that I haven't done the Seraphim Sepia, so I'm going to have to do that bit in a minute. Ugh, I was so keen to do wings, so keen. Here I am looking at the yellow going, wow, that's really bright, isn't it? So I'm going to have to do that again in a minute. So I'll get this bad boy done, because who knows, I might be able to be really neat and tidy. What a wally. It's because I had the Screaming Skull colour out for repairing the other guy on his finger bones. That's why. What an idiot. If you see me making obvious mistakes, please do feel free to shout it out in the live chat there. Just say, Danny, what are you doing, mate? Because there's little setbacks like that. If I'd done a whole bunch of them, oh, that would have been a nightmare, wouldn't it? Might as well finish this guy off here. What I'm going to do is I won't do the underside of the wings. I'll just do the top side. Well, you know, setback number one. We get them, right? We get them. Okay, cool. Well, that's how easy it is to paint wings. Let's, come on now, pop out of there. What an idiot. Leslie says, looking after my friend's house this week, so looking after animals and stuff. The prince will be next week. Ah, fair enough. Nice thing to do, to look after your friend's house, isn't it? I'm away on holiday myself the first week in September, so during that week I will be here doing the show, but I'll have a friend staying over and looking after my cats. Because they need to be looked after too. Right, let's do the bit that I'm actually supposed to be doing. I'm desperately trying not to put paint in my drinking water either. Okay, so let's start on the other ones here. And let's get some seraphim on. So, give that a bit of a shake. There's hardly anything left in this pot. I could just mix both my pots together, but I don't like that idea. What I've been doing is I've been kind of making the whole thing wet, if you remember, and then kind of moving the seraphim around, seraphim sepia on it. But in the interest of speed, I'm just going to see what difference it makes if I don't do that. So here we go. Now I'm going to slap it on, not in an attempt to be a sludge wash. I am going to move it around and try and tidy it up. But yeah, I don't want to be taking forever doing these easier done bits. So what I was experimenting with when I was doing the first one was seeing what happens if I put water on the mini first, using my brush, and then using that as a medium to paint the filter onto. It allowed me to spread it out earlier because there was essentially water diluting the colour down straight away. It felt like it was easier, but it felt like it took longer. So I don't know, if it ultimately makes a massive difference. It also felt like, because it was being diluted immediately going on the model, that it was less likely that it was to start pooling and make little tide marks, which I hate. So I'm looking for a little bit of definition around some of the details, like on the finger bones. That will help me trace the wings out later on when I'm painting the membrane. But I also want it to run into the details and just filter the whole yellow colour down. Now, when I first started doing this colour on my Tyranids, I used to use Agrax Earthshade, which is a much harsher brown. It worked, but Seraphim is just nicer. It's a warmer colour. It's a little bit lighter. And it provides less stark contrast, and on bright yellow, that's just preferable in my own opinion. So I moved away from Agrax and stayed with Seraphim Sepia. I'm not all that worried about the undersides of them so much, as long as it's kind of hidden away. So if there's a little bit that looks, I don't know, defective or doesn't look very good, as long as it's hidden, I don't really mind underneath, because you're just not going to see it. Again, if it was like a bigger character model or something with wings, absolutely, I would spend probably just as much time on the underside as I did on the top side, making it look like it was full of detail, so on and so forth. But on these little horde creatures, I cannot be bothered. This one's also missing a little claw on the end of his wing. Like these ones, they've all got little claws on the ends of their finger bones, and it just must have snapped off at some point. So I could do, in the near future, try and sculpt one on there, but again, who's got the time for that, right? Okay, one down. I'll be careful of the giant hedgehog that I've made over here. There we go. On to the next one. And hopefully they'll dry nice and fast so that I can get on with the wings, which is the exciting bit. And it would be great if I can get them all based today. When I say based, of course, what I don't mean is, you know, base as the stands, but based as in terms of all the colours all blocked out, ready to get into detaily bits next week. I'd like to be able to get at least the bleached bone, I keep calling it bleached bone, the screaming skull colour on all their wings this evening. That means if I don't get it done during the show, I will be online for a while on Discord. You can come and join me for a video chat or just for a call if you want to, whichever you prefer or are able to do. If you just want to sit there and type to me but talk to me directly, you absolutely can. That's what the Easy 8 After Show is for. And there's a link to Discord just down the bottom in the comments, just above the comment section, just down there. Go and have a go. Someone comes and joins me every week. Sometimes it's a small turnout, sometimes it's a larger turnout. Sometimes we talk for hours, and other times we do not. This is a fun bit, I've got to say, because there's no real talent to just slapping paint on, is there? It's such an easy thing to do. It's such fun. And it makes you feel like that you're like a really good painter, even if you've got like little skill or practice, because it just runs into all the surfaces and just brings out all the cool details that you could barely see. I like it. And it makes you think, yeah, I did that. But I just want to be careful about tide marks and unwanted patterns and things. Only once have I ever had random patterns coming out from the wash phase that looked like that I actually wanted to keep them, and that was back when I first started playing Tyranids back in the mid-90s. And me and my dad Jeff, who's in the live chat now, where he was helping me paint through my Tyranid force, and I had the old white metal Hive Tyrant, and we were just painting them all like weird colours. Every individual creature was like different, because why not, right? And we put a wash, I can't even remember what colour it was, we put a wash on the Hive Tyrant, and it made this really cool pattern on his shoulder armour, but we were only halfway through painting, and so as we were carried on painting it, it hid that little pattern, and we were absolutely gutted because you would never be able to repeat it ever again. So sometimes I suppose it is possible to get like desirable things by accident, but you know, ever since then I've not really had that. That was so cool. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about as well. Now what is important with this stage is that I do get every bit of the yellow covered with some of this colour, because if I don't, it will show up, because the rest of it will have this dulling down, if you like. And it's important that I make sure I get a good coverage. It looks like the other one is, first one there is drying, but it is slow. I must make my leave early tonight. Got to grab myself some food. Look after yourselves, everyone. Thank you again for another awesome show. See you guys next week. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks for coming along and always being a swell dude in the live chat there. See you again, and hope looking after the house is a breeze. I feel like I've slowed right down now, but this is good progress. This is got to kind of keep my spirits up and not let it bother me, because that's going to come in when I paint the grey on their carapace later on. That's going to be slow. Desperately need to work out a faster way of dealing with that, but let's worry about that when we get there, eh? You know, one thing that I am quite pleased about is that we are not currently in the heat wave that the rest of Europe is suffering from at the moment. And while I feel for everybody over there in Rhodes right now, where it must be absolutely horrible to live, over here, do you know what, I'm so glad that it's not that hot. I just can't deal with it, and in the studio it's just unbearable. Makes it quite difficult to run the show. And I know that in the face of so much tragedy at the moment over there in the Mediterranean and whatnot, it feels a little bit silly for me saying, oh, at least my show's nice and cool. You know, you got the weather that you got, right? And I'm grateful that today it's not been as hot as it has been in recent performances. But my heart does go out to all the people that are stuck over there right now, watching the country burn, because it is crazy out there at the moment, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. I feel for all of them. Where I live is quite near to Dartmoor. If anybody from outside the UK is watching, Dartmoor is in the southwest of the UK. It's a big national park. I want to say of untouched land, but a lot of it is sort of farmed, but it is kind of left to its own devices. And sometimes you do get wildfires out there. We had one a little while ago, and it was quite disruptive. Nowhere near the level of what we're seeing in Europe right now. Some details that I'm really trying to pull out on these little fellas is on their arms and often on their legs, but these ones don't really have legs. Are these little, I call them vents. Last week I think I called them organic venty things or something. Someone was taking the mick out of me for that. But the little details that they've got on their forearms and sometimes on their biceps. I don't know, just like little muscle, sinew things, exposed inside parts or whatever. And they do look quite cool, but you've got to pick them out with a decent wash. So wherever my paint sits, I'm just trying to make sure that it does sit in those to bring those details out, and they look quite nice. Getting through it quite quickly though. That's 4 done out of 6. Oh, 7 I suppose, because I got the one over there that did his wing. his wing a minute ago. We are at 8:30, so I don't think I'm going to have them all winged today with the Screaming Skull. Not live on the show anyway. So it would be lovely to have your company on Discord if you fancy coming over. I don't feel that you have to. Did I see that Death Valley just hit 55 degrees? Yeah, I suppose that is quite possible. I haven't seen the news today, actually. That is, of course, a crazy temperature. I assume you're talking about 55 centigrade and not Fahrenheit, because Fahrenheit, that's quite worryingly low. But yikes. Last year, where I live, as high as 39, which is, for someone who lives in, you know, the low 20s, that is just ridiculously hot. And to be honest, I struggle in anything over 17. My Celtic complexion can just not deal with it at all. It's the new record for them. That is insane, isn't it? Absolutely insane. My heart really goes out to all of them over there. Makes you grateful for what you got. I'll put a bit too much paint on there. Okay. Let's find some places to spread it out. So if I put too much wash on in one go, what I try to do is offload the rest of my brush into another area of the model, then come back to it, the area that I put too much on, and use the fact that there's no more paint in my brush to kind of soak it all up, pressing the bristles down into the paint, capillary physics, if you will, sucks all the paint up from that area, and then I can deposit it down. But you've got to get in there nice and quick and pick it all up, because if you leave it in there too long, you'll end up with a tide mark, and I don't like tide marks. I just don't like them. Quick scan, making sure that I've got a good coverage there. Wicked. Last limb. Now it is possible to put too much of this wash on as a filter, and the yellow kind of gets buried away behind a brown colour, and they come up very, very dark, almost like they're tanned. And while it's nice to have some sort of variation between each model and even units, it's important to me and the way my brain works to make sure that they are all quite close in terms of their coloration. So what I can always do is later on come in with a dry brush, or even just like a little bit of the paint, just normally on a normal brush, and just to kind of pick out some of those details again. And that often happens on small details that's surrounded by the wash. So like the finger bones here is a perfect example. So I could just come back in with a little bit of the paint neat on the brush and just, you know, bring like a little highlight essentially, and just bring that detail back out. I think we're doing quite well here in terms of coverage and saturation. Cool. This one and the one who's on the side already waiting to left to go. Start with the head because it's a focal point. It's where the character of the creature is. I like to make sure that he gets lots of character. And there's lots of recesses for the paint to run into. Just a good starting position. And then from there I can work that paint, anything that's left over. If I've got too much paint on him, I can work him down the rest of the torso, down towards the tail. As I'm going down, I'm trying to keep it in my brain that I should just stay on the torso, and until the torso is done, then I move on to the tail. I don't move on anywhere else. But as I'm painting, just as I would do if I'm talking to someone or walking through a room, I'll get distracted at the pretty things, you know, elsewhere, and I'll end up going off somewhere else. So all the time, I'm always trying to just stay on piste, which is really hard for me, by the way. Jeff says, just Google it. The hottest it's been in Death Valley was in 1913 at 57 degrees Celsius, which is 134 Fahrenheit. It's just insane numbers, isn't it? Well, let's just hope that everyone is okay. We are lucky here in the UK that we have the jet stream that just kind of keeps those sorts of weathers at bay mostly. I say last year we did get a heat wave, and it was high for this part of the country. This part of the world even. I just remember struggling here in the studio, and even recently we had a little heat wave, and I just remember like, having both windows open, sitting my feet in a you know a bowl of water, cold water, with a fan blowing directly at me, and the sweat still running down the back of my neck, and yeah, it's just uncomfortable. It's unpleasant. And the paint dries on the model so fast. But today it's quite pleasant. It's been raining sort of on and off, and I quite like the rain. I don't mind it. Cleans my house. This is the last one on my big polystyrene block, which I like to call my hedgehog because, well, it's bristling with models with spiky bits sticking out of them. So on my hedgehog, this is the last one, and I've got one more just on the side over here to do, and I am really happy with the progress. Yes, it will be nice to have all their wings all done, but it is, you know, there's a lot to do here, and I just need to be happy with the progress that I've made. Some of these are looking a little bit on the brown side, but as I'm looking back over them, it is toning down a little bit, so that's good. Maybe I'll just give my brush a bit of a wash out. There we go. There was a big pool on the tail there. That's good. I got that away because otherwise that would have left a tide mark, and I just don't like them. Nearly flipped over my pot of paint by twiddling my miniature. That's great. I think we're doing all right here. Okay, so one more to go. 20 minutes left of the show. Right, on this one I need to paint the knuckles back in, or the fingers back in, so wash this brush out quickly. Let's put a lid on that sepia because I'm just going to knock that over, and I will... Got a little bit of the yellow paint actually just left on the side. Is it congealed yet? Not totally, so I still got that to use. Don't waste the paint, right? Okay, here it is, just on the end of the brush there. And this is not the airbrush paint, so this will come out a little bit more opaque and thicker, I suppose. And because what I've done is I've painted those finger bones with that screaming skull colour, it's just given, you know, the background's just given that colour a little bit of pop. As where when I was trying to paint over that brownie colour earlier, it was having none of it. It wouldn't cover it at all. The yellow's just got no guts. It needs a bright background to do anything with. Doesn't matter if I get it on the membranes like I am right now, because it's all going to be painted later. I'm going on quite thick, to be fair. I just kind of want to get it covered. But I will come in with a wet brush in a minute and just sort of make sure that there's no streaks or anything like that, or big lumpy bits of paint. Nice. Okay. It's a little bit duller than the rest of the yellow over there, but I'm going to filter it down in a minute, so it's fine. Just as what colour is using for the gun. All the guns in the Tyranid world are more Tyranids. So this is two organisms. So you've got the flying creature, and this is called a flesh borer. It fires borer beetles. It's actually one of my favourite weapons in terms of its lore, what it actually is. So really it should be the same colours. It should be its own creature that's being carried by the carrier creature. Literally it's called the gun creature and the carrier creature. They're symbiotic, which means that they can't live or function without each other, so they are made integral to one another. But I do like to try and make them stand out a little bit from the carrier beast. So on one of my hive creatures some months ago now, I hit it with a different filter over the top. So I still did the sepia colour, but I tried like a really dark pink, almost a purple sort of filter over the top. I didn't really like it. It does make it stand out. So I'm going to try different browns and things just to sort of make it stand out a little bit, but without losing the kind of unity of the colours that are going to be on there. So yeah, that I might even try Agrax Earthshade, for example. I did try 2 layers of the filter, but it just made it really dark, and it kind of just made the yellows bleed away, and you couldn't see it anymore, which is a shame because it looks nice. So yeah, there you go. Gotta just wait for that to dry before I can hit it with any sepia. Coming back to the first creature where I did the wings, I still need to do him, so I will. So when I was saying I had one more to go, I lied to you all. Soz. What are you going to do? Do you know, some water? Okay. What I was really happy with the last time I painted these guys, last week, is I'd actually settled on the colour for the tongue and the mouth parts. That's one of those little things that I think made a lot of difference to me on how I felt about my Tyranids. But it had a lot of character in there for me, and I've never really settled on a colour for those mouth parts before. So it was, yeah, it was quite a moment really. And it was a dark red with a wash of violet that just got darker towards the back or the inside, I suppose. So that was nice, and it looks really good. I did try really bright reds, but they just looked like lipstick, cheap, and like the old cheap Chinese toys used to get as a kid, where they were just cheap and cheerful and knock out as many as you could. I didn't like that. I've tried blue. I wanted to have blue mouth parts, but it doesn't look right. The reason I went for blue is because back in 3rd edition, the Red Terror was a creature that you could have, and I absolutely loved the Red Terror. It's an old model now, unfortunately, and in the face of much bigger creatures having been released since, it doesn't really stand up in the rules either that much anymore, especially when there are other creatures that do very, very similar and do a better job when they are bigger models and look better. But I remember when it came out, my whole Tyranid army at the time was green, but I made the Red Terror red, because why not, right? And yeah, I painted its mouth blue, and it just looked cool. It was just an idea that came to me, because all the others were purple in their mouths, and it was nice. It had like a really big mouth. But now if I paint blue in mouths, it doesn't look right. Almost finished for the supports for my train this evening. Oh, wicked, Kez. Nice work. I'd love to see a photo of that, so please, if you are so inclined, take a photo, stick it either on Discord or on Facebook. Facebook is very active lately, so if you want people to see it, stick it up over there. Stafford has joined us. Hi guys, sorry, I just got back from Alton Towers with the kids. Hope you've had a good show. Actually, Steph had a wicked time on the show today. We've had a really good turnout. We've had Tony from Debris of War join us as well, which has been lovely. And I'm having a really productive evening. Thank you very much. Sounds like you're having a great time at Alton Towers. For those of you who are outside of the UK, Alton Towers is one of the UK's big theme parks. Roller coasters, yeah. And is a million miles away from where I am. Right at the other end of the country. So over the last few days, some people in the community have been talking about going back to Bovington Tank Museum. Now, we've been quite a few times in the last 12 months, but that is because that we bought our tickets, and they are annual tickets or annual passes. So when you buy your ticket, you can just go as many times as you want within a year of you purchasing that ticket. Well, you know, as it's not too far away from where I live and some of the community, we've just been going and making the most of it and just kind of getting the community together because we enjoy our company, as it turns out, and just going and seeing tanks because tanks are cool. Now, our tickets, I believe, run out in September, so someone the other day was saying to me, hey, it would be great if we got to go at least one more time before those tickets run out. And do you know what? You're absolutely right. And I know we've been talking about going to the Competent Combat collection, but we haven't gone there yet, so we don't have annual passes that might expire soon. So if you are just tuning in for the first time, or you haven't been with us to the Bovington Tank Museum and you would like to go, give me a shout, because it might be that I have a spare ticket. I don't know if I do yet. I'll have to go back over it all, and I suppose it does depend who can go. But when we've been the last few times, because I picked up the tickets, I've got all the ticket numbers and details and, well, the actual physical tickets, I suppose, with me. So if someone doesn't go from that initial batch and you'd like to go, I've got a ticket for you. So yeah, and if I don't have the space for you on those tickets and you want to go anyway, then give us a shout. You can drop me a line in any of the normal ways. You can tell me on Facebook, send me a private message if you want to. You can leave a message on YouTube. You can put down as a comment to this video at any time. That's absolutely fine. Whatever you like. You can tell me in Discord if you like. I'm constantly active on all of our platforms, even on Twitter, which isn't doing very well at the moment, and I'm probably going to delete Twitter soon, because actually all I'm getting is just a lot of unimportant notifications about things that I just don't care about, and quite frankly I find it a little bit shallow, so I'm probably going to be leaving Twitter alone. So yeah, come and join me at Bovington Tank Museum. Why not? Stafford said, when are we going? Tanks, says Jeff. Yes, tonight. We can't because you're in Staffordshire and you're called Stafford. That's very funny. I wonder if that's ever been pointed out to you. Yeah, let's just go, man. Let's just do it. So, do you know what, Tony? I know you're still... I hope you're still watching. Maybe you aren't still watching. But if you're watching back later and you want to join us at Bovington to go to the Tank Museum, come along, mate. To anybody who wants to go along, you're welcome. Let's make a big thing of it. We just like going out for the day, sitting down having lunch together, watching the tanks when they do their little show, when they do take them out, or just walking around and look at them and going, oh, look at that tank, isn't that cool? Can't believe how big it is. So yeah. Anyway, look, we're getting really close to the end of the show now, so about 10 minutes left to go. So if there's anything you wanted to do or say on the show, now's the time to do it, really. I've got my last Tyranid here to put the sepia tone on. So yeah, it can go on now. And I'm not going to get all these wings painted during the show, but like I say, I will be on Discord afterwards. So if you want to come and join me, please do. I love having a chat with you after the show. And also, I try to keep the show pretty kid-friendly. So if you want to bring your son or your daughter along or whatever, your dog, we're not going to say bad words. But the Discord, I suppose anything goes, right? It's the after show. It's the after 8. It's the Easy 8 after party. I always call it the after 8 party. How many years have we been doing this now? So yeah, like the idea is it's the after show. Stick around if you want to say bad words, whatever, or have a drink and not worry about the kids and stuff. That's fine. You come do that. That's okay. Because this man's got a potty mouth, and sometimes it's nice to have a place to stretch that out. I've got a little bit of water in my brush, and it's actually for this last one here. Just making the sepia here just act a little bit different. I'm just kind of used to it not doing that. So for the last one I'm doing, this one's misbehaving. Come on now. I started doing that thing I was talking about earlier on, where I'm just not paying attention and talking excitedly about other things and being distracted, so I'm not kind of sticking in one place here. Right, need to get back on track. There's a pipe here, and there's a bubble of the seraphim which keeps on forming over it, and it will dry like that if I'm not careful. Got a bit of the yellow paint that I hadn't dried in there, mixed in with the seraphim. I thought it had dried, but it hadn't done a very good job of that. So I'll come back to that bit in a second. Michael says, did someone say tanks? Hi Mike, thanks for coming along, mate. I haven't seen you all show. Have you just joined us? And yes, you're absolutely right. You did hear me talking about the Tank Museum. If you want to, do come and join us at the Tank Museum. We haven't set a date. It's just something that someone was talking about the other day. We've still got our tickets and we want to kind of make the most out of them, so let's go again. We've seen everything there, apart from the fact that they've just made a new display there, which is tanks through media, so like films and games and things like that. And it's just another way of displaying a lot of the tanks that they've got there, but they're just cool things and different ways to look at it all. So why not? It's just a nice day out, right? And if you haven't bought a ticket yet, it's actually really affordable to go. Can't remember what the prices are off the top of my head, but if you've not been before, you won't be like alarmed by the cost. It's actually quite an affordable place to go. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I think it's about this much, because I can't quite remember. And it would be remiss of me to say, oh, it's like £15. And actually, if it was like £25, you'd be like, what? But I remember putting the money down for about 5 of us, and I think it came to just under £100, so it might be quite close to the £15-20 mark. But I just, can't confidently say that I remember. Panther, I can't believe how big it is, yeah. I remember the first time Stafford went and we all were, kind of looking around and in awe because they're all really cool things to look at. Stafford just stood in front of that Panther and he just kept on saying, I just can't believe how big it is. The thing is, it is an enormous tank. There are bigger, but for some reason that Panther just stands out, doesn't it? There's something about it. you know, I think it is bigger than the Tiger. The Tiger is wide for sure. It's not very tall, and I know it's got thicker armor. But when you're just looking at it, the Panther's so imposing. Okay, I think I'm done. Some of these are starting to look a little bit browner than others, but I don't mind a little bit of variation in my unit. That's fine. Just making sure that in and around the gun, where it's quite hard to see everything, that I've got brown at least on every area to some intensity, as long as it's on there. Otherwise the yellow just stands out, and you know straight away that you haven't painted it. Look at the tops down, all the finger bones. There's a little bit there that could do with a bit more. Yeah, that's nice. Cool. Excellent. Right. That needs a little chopping down there, doesn't it? Let's close that up. There we go. Pop you in the water. Oh, fired off at me somewhere. Never mind. I've not really been paying an awful lot of attention to the screen where I normally do, and I hope that I've been in shot for most of it. If I haven't been, do let me know. Excellent, cool. That is a, if I zoom out, oh, I always go the wrong way. That is a big pile of gargoyles that I've all painted up. They look really cool when they're all like that, don't they? So yeah, I've got to a really good place with these where they can all be I have all their wings started this evening, so I'm going to, over the course of the next sort of half an hour to an hour off the show, is get all the wings based, at least with Screaming Skull, and that'll take me about half an hour to an hour, I reckon. So yeah, get some work done before next week, where I may or may not have time to do anything during the week. Let's hope that I do. Anyway, let's come away from here now. It is a silly place. Movie reference. Point for those people that remember. Right, just going to wash my brush out, and today I will remember to wash my airbrush. I've done a pretty good job of it so far, but it needs a bit of a strip down, and like Anthony says, it needs to go into the ultrasonic bath. Right, cool, brilliant. It's been a great evening, really productive. Messed up a little bit by kind of jumping ahead of myself with the Screaming Skull when I was supposed to be doing the Seraphim Sepia, but it hasn't really set me back that far. It's just I've just jumped ahead, really. So yeah, over the next sort of half an hour to an hour, I'm going to be over at Discord. If you want to join me for the Easy 8 after party, there's a link to Discord in all of our platforms just down there. Go and check them out. There's also links to loads of people who I mention regularly, all the time, often regularly. I talk about people a lot, and people who I enjoy their services, or just make wonderful products, they do good painting or whatever, then there's just people down there. Tony, who's been in the live chat this evening, is down there for Debris of War, so go check out Debris of War. Absolutely fantastic products, and if you're looking for something to add scatter terrain or anything like that to your table, then it's definitely the place to go and have a look at that. There's Jeff, my dad, at Purple Lion Creations, who will tailor make and bespoke build your buildings and terrain features for you if you want to. Charlie Foxtrot Models, who makes exquisitely detailed, high quality laser cut terrain for 20 and 28mm. Man, there's loads of it down there. Blightforge Studios, painting service down in Cornwall, absolutely fantastic painter. Recently got in contact with me on Instagram, challenging me to a game of 40k. If you're watching this, Blightforge, absolutely, I would love to come and play you. Quite clearly, after today's game, what I need to do is refine my list, and it'd be nice to have a painted army of the units that I'm going to bring anyway. So maybe not immediately, but definitely something moving forwards into this year. I will come down to Cornwall. I've got some friends down there anyway, so I can make a little trip out of it, and it's not too far away from here. It's about 2.5 hours trip for me, so really easy to do. Yes, I would love to come and connect, and that would be great. So yeah, go and check out all of these people because they do wonderful things, and that's what this show is all about, is bringing people together. So go and have a little look and see what you think about them all. There's also John at Out of His World Models and Minis, who is a staunch supporter of Easy 8, and he's based all the way over there in the far distant lands of the United States, and has his own channel, and he just paints whatever he wants to paint. And after the show today, because my partner's not at home, I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to sit with my cats and have a cup of tea, and I'm going to watch some of the episodes I haven't seen yet, because there's quite a few that I need to catch up on. But recently he's been painting the Tim Burton's Batmobile, and it looks really cool. So go and give that guy some support and show him some love by subscribing or thumbs upping his channel as well, because he's just a really nice guy. And that's it for me, really. If you've been painting something this evening, I would genuinely love to see it. So go stick a photo up of it on Facebook, on the Easy 8 Facebook page. That one there. You can't just put posts to the Facebook page anymore. Don't know why, it's been like that for a while now. But you can attach or comment with your photos to this week's schedule, which is a great idea, and lots of people do that, and it would be great to see the stuff that you've been working on this evening. Anyway, in danger of repeating myself, I think it's time that I go. If you want to go to Bovington Tank Museum or anywhere else together, that would be great. Do let me know. And I'm also going to be heading to the North Devon Model Show, which is going to be at Park School near Barnstable, which is a stone's throw away from where I live, and that'll be on the 13th of August. So if you're going to that, let us know. If you fancy going to it, but weren't planning on it in the first place, let me know and let's go meet up, because it's on the doorstep, and I think you should support those ones. So I'm going to be going to that as well. And they've got some big gigs happening towards the end of the year, right at the end of the year, but more on that as we get closer to that. In the meantime, I think it's time to say goodnight. So thank you very much for coming along, supporting the channel. As always, you guys have been great. Please do subscribe, thumbs up, and all that jazz. And in the meantime, I will see you next week. Until then, stay safe, be kind, and keep on painting. See you soon. Bye-bye now. Nothing went wrong. Oh my gosh.